Hi, Shep Hyken here, excited for another look backstage with another all-access pass to the 50-year history of contemporary productions with Steve Shankman. Steve, back in the early days of the concert promotions, takes a lot of money to make that happen. Do you have any help?
Well, right. I mean, to do these bigger concerts with these, every act wasn't for $750 like U2 was back in the early days. So we had to come up with some money. And this is kind of an interesting story because we were at 539 North Grand when we first started next to the Fox. And then we went home and worked out of our homes. And then I really said we ought to get an office somewhere. So I found this office space out on Fifi Road in Maryland Heights. Just 4 offices. We had it built on the second floor of a 2-story building. It was in the Bennett Paper Building. And I met Sam Bennett because we had to put watch lines in because we're booking bands in 11 states.
Now, what's a watch line?
Wide area telecommunication. So back then, if you wanted to make calls one at a time, it was very expensive. These, you'd pay so much for the month. And you could have a band 1, a band 2, band 3, or the whole country. We took band 1 and 2, the closest to St. Louis. So we had Iowa and Nebraska and Kansas. And it was great for booking bands. The only problem was only one person at a time. So we all had extensions. So when Irv would get off the phone, and then Steve Madison would get off the phone, then it'd be Steve Shankman's turn. So we had to talk to Sam Bennett because we had to have these lines put into this building. That was the last time I saw him. Then about a year later, I get a note from Donna Flowers, his secretary. His office is downstairs. The plant's next door. And the note says, Mr. Bennett would love to have a meeting with you. So I say to Irv, I don't know what's going on, but I hope we didn't do anything wrong. You know, we're young, we got the long hair and all that. So we go downstairs, or I go downstairs. I walk, I say, hi, Mr. Bennett. He says, just call me Sam. And he says, Steve, I don't know what's going on upstairs. I said, well, you know, we're in the, no. He says, you guys come to work at 10 o'clock in the morning. I'm here at 6:30. You drive nice cars. I mean, back then I was driving a 98 red convertible Olds, and Irv was driving a GTO. And here we are coming late to work, and we leave late. You know, what's going on at night there? And he says, I don't know what you're doing, but I want to do that with you. And I mean, what an entree to want to have a meeting, right? So I said, well, the only thing we don't have and what we could use is cash. To do these bigger concerts, take $25,000 guarantees. And by the time we get some of the ticket money in, we've already had to pay the guarantee. So Sam put together a group of people, and we went out and started doing concerts together. Humble Pie, Joe Cocker, concerts at the Arena, concerts at Kiel, and they were our backers of our shows. And he was a great backer from about 1970 to about 73. And then we picked up a guy in 73 that was running the old arena before it was the Checker Dome. So this was the arena with Sid Solomon, which was the Blues hockey team. And his name was Wayne Cooper. And he said, Steve, I can get you $100,000 from the Blues from Mr. Solomon. I said, great. So we put together a proposal. We went in to see Mr. Solomon, and we thought we really were going to get a deal. Sonny Solomon, this was the son of Mr. Solomon, and the deal never happened. So Wayne ends up getting a little bit of money from a couple other people. I think it was his father-in-law maybe and a friend of his. And he was our backer for a short time. But the best and the most fun was Harry Wald. Harry Wald used to own the Grand Burlesque Theater, and Harry came in 74 and backed all of our shows out of town for a couple of years. And he was just a great guy from the vaudeville days, a real showman, and he was really a lot of fun. And after those 3, that was it. We rolled it ourselves. Irv and I, we bankrolled the company until we sold it in 1998.
Wow, but it all started out with, as the song goes, a little help from your friends.
Correct.
All right. Well, I hope you enjoyed this backstage story. Come back next week for another all-access look into the history of contemporary productions.